Hey stats class, we are looking at confidence intervals for a mean on this video. We're going to use Desmos. I got Desmos up and running to show you guys how to use Desmos to handle these intervals. All right, it tells us here that we have a sample of size 21 and a confidence level of 98%, and we're told to find a critical value. Now this is a critical T value. You can tell with the notation T with a little underscore C. That's a T critical value. So we need the T distribution. So I'm just going to write T, D-I-S-T, right? And then open the parentheses. It says how many degrees of freedom you have. So the number of degrees of freedom we have is one less than the sample size. So degrees of freedom is sample size minus 1. So we have 20 degrees of freedom. And then it wants to know, do we want to shift or scale this? For critical values, we don't need to shift or scale, so I'm going to take away that comma and zoom in on this. Okay. Now, critical values are the bounds procedure, just like it was back in when we're doing normal distributions for critical values. So I'm going to find a critical value by clicking here, cumulative probability, click on bounds, and it wants to know critical confidence level 98%. So that is an inner. And we want this to be 0.98, 98%. So this is the critical value. All right, it tells us to round to the nearest thousandth as needed. So that would be at that place value. So this is going to be 2.528. All right, and I'm going to move my head, check the answer. So there's that value. Now I'm going to do another problem. Let's click some more questions just so you can see it done again. So 98% confidence level, sample size 26. The 98% confidence level, that's not changing. But the sample size is 26, so that'll make this 25, right? So that's now updated. That's no longer accurate, so I'm going to drop that down, round to the nearest thousandth. So that will be the rounding since the next number is a 1. And I'll just paste that in there, and there's my critical value. Okay, so T critical values, we want bounds, then the T distribution. We're going to input the confidence level, selecting enter, and 1 less than the sample size is the degrees of freedom that needs to go into the Desmos calculator. All right, this next question type is asking about the margin of error. Let me give you a quick visual what margin of error is. So an interval, and this is called confidence intervals up here. An interval is just a chunk of the number line. So typically we think of the number line, it goes off to negative infinity on the left end, it goes off to positive infinity on the right end. An interval would just be just one little piece of that. Okay, so that's that's an interval. We just got a part of the number line. So all intervals, they have just like a lower number, they have an upper number, like what little part of the number line we're talking about. And for confidence intervals especially, in the center of the interval is some statistics. So for means, it's going to be the sample mean. It's going to be right in the middle of your confidence interval. And our goal is that we think that the population mean is in here. So maybe it's here. I'm just arbitrarily picking somewhere. It could be anywhere in there. But somewhere in this interval, we would find the population mean. And that's the whole idea of a confidence interval. How confident are we that the population mean is in this interval between this low number and this upper number? We are 90% confident. Okay. Or it could be 95% or 98% like we saw in the first examples. But that's just what a confidence interval is. It's just this idea that we have the population mean captured in there. Now, what we're doing here is calculating the margin of error. And all the margin of error is the distance from the center out to the upper end, which is also the same distance from the center out to the lower end when we're dealing with symmetric distributions like T and Z. That we'll see for this course. So this is the margin of error. We use the letter E to represent the margin of error. So I'm just labeling it that. So that's what we're being asked to find here. The margin of error gets changed. It's altered by the confidence level. So the higher the confidence, the wider the interval. So the bigger the margin of error would be. And also it's adjusted by the standard deviation. Standard deviation for sample means, that's what's in the center here, right? Keep that in mind. Is the standard deviation divided by the square root of your sample size. So we have to keep that in mind when we're doing these calculations, okay? It's not just S, it's standard deviation divided by the square root of sample size. This is piggybacking off of that next to last sections from the previous chapter. So here's the previous problem that we were doing when we were just finding the critical value. So a margin of error is very similar to a critical value. It's just we're going to adjust based on the standard deviation. So we're still going to click enter because it's confidence levels. We're going to click bounds because a margin of error and a critical value both are bounds. They're numbers on the number line. We're going to update this to be 90% confidence, so that's going to be 0.90 instead of 0.98. And we're also going to shift this and update our degrees of freedom. So we have a sample size 9, so degrees of freedom is 8. And shifting is done by the sample mean. Like if we move away from the center to the sample mean, that'll be the shift. We're not here for critical values. We don't move off the center of the t-distribution, so we're going to stay at 0. But we are going to scale it based on the standard deviation of the sample mean distribution. So again, it's not just S. That is the standard deviation, and that's what we use to scale. But the standard deviation for sample means is S divided by the square root of n. So I'm going to do 6, right, divided by the square root of 9. You could also just say 3. 6 divided by 3 would be 2. So you can do that. But the key important thing here is now we have this symmetric distribution. And 0 is right in the center of it. Let me kind of zoom in around it. 0 is right in the center of it because we didn't shift anything. Okay, it's still at 0. But the upper number is my margin of error. So that's what I need for margin of error. It wants me to round to 3 places. So that's just going to be truncating since the next number is 0. So I'm going to just paste that in there. And that is my margin of error calculation with Desmos. All right, let's do another one just to make sure that we got it down. All right, 90, S is 5 now, N is 10. So we got to update our degrees of freedom. So N is 10, so the degrees of freedom is 9. We're going to leave that 0. S is 5. And we're divided by the square root of the sample size, which is 10. Okay, so this will always be, the number under the radical will always be 1 bigger than this because that's degrees of freedom. This is sample size. All right, bounds 90% still. So now this is our new value to 3 places. I'd go there. Next number is a 4. So again, I don't need to round it up. So I'll just keep it like that. Check my answer, and that's how we find a margin of error calculation. All right, and these just keep building. Okay, so we started off at the very beginning. They were giving us just C in the sample size. Then they're giving us C, the sample size, and S to get us that margin of error. And now we're to the point where we are given C, S, N, and now the sample mean. So we're going to have all of these things. The degrees of freedom, the shift is going to be the sample mean. The scaling is still going to be the S divided by the square root of n. So all that stuff will give us the confidence interval, these two numbers. It'll be the lower number and the upper number here. All right, so let's do this. Degrees of freedom, 1 less than the sample size. So degrees of freedom is 8. We are going to shift by the sample mean, so 14.9 is our shift. And then our S, the numerator, is 3 divided by the square root of the sample size is 9. All right, so again, you could, if you see that, that square root of that is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. You could do that as well. All right, bounds, this is 95%, so I'm going to change that to 0.95. And then close this off. This is my upper end of the interval. This is my lower end of the interval once we have all that stuff in there. All right, it wants me to round to 1 place this time. So that's going to be 12.6. And then this one is just going to be 17.2. I don't need to round it. All right, let's see if that likes that. Okay, that's good. So just to kind of recap, these have just kind of progressively been building. We've been doing more and more to this t-distribution calculator. We started off, all we needed was the degrees of freedom, and we could find the critical value. Then we needed the margin of error. So we did the degrees of freedom. We had a 0 right here because we're still, for margin of error, we want it based off the center being 0, which the t-distribution typically is. and then we just altered this n over s over the square root of n. And then finally, for the confidence intervals, we add in the shift. We shift everything over. So instead of making this thing centered at 0, we shift it over to be centered at whatever the sample mean is. So like that picture I drew just a little bit ago, that the intervals are centered at the sample mean. So that's what the shift does. It moves this thing that was centered at 0 over to the sample mean. And so we go up and down by the margin of error, which is what a confidence interval is. All right, and then once you've got that down, now it's time to just apply it to just a scenario. So when you're looking at this, this is really ultimately no different than everything that we've been doing. It's just that it's not giving me n equals this, s equals this. I have to figure out what all those things are. So the random sample is 26 people. That's n. So I'm going to have 26 minus 1 is the degrees of freedom, so 25. All right. The mean commute time was 30.1. That's in a sample, so that means that's the sample mean. So that's 30.1 is going to be my shift. The standard deviation was 7.3. That is the value of s. That's in the numerator. And I divide by the square root of the sample size, which is 26. Again, notice this number is 1 less than this, like we were talking about before. All right, assuming the population is normally distributed, that's important because the central limit theorem says we need to get a sample size 30 or more to be normally distributed, and since we didn't, we need to have this assumption of normality to begin with. All right, and a 90% confidence intervals, that's the last thing I'll have to change down here, is that to 90. So making sure you have bounds here, not area. This is your confidence interval. So that's my lower number, that's my lower number, that's my upper number. So always put an interval needs to get bigger from left to right, so always put your lower number first. So that's going to be 27.7, and then the upper number is the 1 decimal place, 32.5. So there is my confidence interval, 90% confidence interval based on the scenario, based on the information I was given. Oh, sorry, wasn't done. Margin of error. So margin of error can get two ways. I can subtract this number 32.5 minus 30.1. So that'll be 2.4 if I do that subtraction. So that's the easy way to do it once you've already constructed the interval. But the other way you can do it is just to take the difference between these two numbers, like the upper number minus the lower number, and then divide that difference by 2. That's another way you can get the margin of error. Right? The other way you can do it is just do like we did before, right? Remember, just to get margin of error, we just made that 0. And so now that upper number is the margin of error. So you can do it however ways you want to. But once you get the confidence interval, the upper number minus the mean that's in the middle will give you the distance. That's what the margin of error is. It's the distance from the middle up. So subtract, and you got that distance. All right, what's the interpretation? It's always the same thing. All right, we're this % confident the population mean is in there. So if you don't see confidence, like 90% confident, those are excluded. So I can just go ahead and immediately exclude A and exclude D because they don't talk about 90% confidence. So 90% confidence, the population mean commute time is between those two results. That is our interpretation here, is B. So that's what a confidence interval about a population mean is. It's how confident I am that I have an interval that traps the mean in there. All right, so again, there's really no difference between this problem and this problem, other than I have to find out what n, s, degrees of freedom, x bar, all that stuff is by looking at it with words, rather than just seeing it written with explicitly n equals this, like we saw earlier.